Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton, and it is time for another edition of Angel Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and we do a few reality shows on the side. And one of the daytime TV shows that we're doing is The Young and the Restless, and as you can see behind me, I'm in Glendale, California, because today was the day of days, and I've been to five different fan events for all four shows and passions. So I've got a lot to say about the Day of Days, so I will be saving that, not for the next time I do Days of Our Lives, but the time after that, because I need quite a bit of time to think about today and how I want to present what my experiences were. So we'll see how that goes. So let's talk about Young and the Restless, okay? So this was kind of a weird week on Young and the Restless, all right? So let's start with weirdness number one, Dina Mergeron, who you know is my favorite. So Jack and Ashley found her in Florida, right? And she acted like she couldn't stand Jack. She was like telling Graham, "You know how much I detest him." Well, this week they ran into her again, and she was as sweet as can be. And even Ashley was like, "We just weren't expecting you to be this friendly." So they convinced her to, they convinced her to leave Graham and go with them back to Genoa City and to come live with them in the Abbott mansion. So she does it, right? Which is a little weird also. Again, I mean, the whole thing is just very weird. And then she's, again, pleased as punch. I mean, the whole thing is, it's okay. But then one night, I don't even know how, I can't even explain any of this, but she went to the underground. There wasn't anyone there. The lights were off. And then she starts drinking. And then she spills. And then she pulls out of her pocket, or maybe it was her handbag, I don't know, but she pulls out a picture of John Abbott. And then she tries to burn it. And she's like, whatever, and then she ends up walking out and going home. I mean, the whole thing, and then actually the underground actually catches on fire and then burns to the ground, which is a whole other weirdness. But I mean, the whole situation with her was just it was almost like I was like, what the is going on? I mean, really? What the hell? Like, did I miss something? Did I miss a day? Right? It was just crazy. So that was craziness, bit number one of craziness on Young and the Restless. So, the week before this, we found out, Victoria found out that we all found out that the reason she's got that funky tinnitus that, affects her behavior is because we found out that that's actually toxic poisoning of her face mask that she has been trying for months, right? And Billy's the one who poisoned her. And that's what came out this week, was that Billy was the one who poisoned her. Because, what's funny is that I was thinking that that would have been the perfect opportunity for us to get a good look at Crazy Phyllis being back, right? But it wasn't the case. And then I was thinking, oh, well, maybe it isn't Phyllis. Maybe it's like Victor. Maybe Victor knew she would get poisoned, but not enough to kill her, right? I mean, it could, but then that didn't happen either. It ended up being Billy. And so Maddie, Reed takes Maddie and Charlie to the underground. They're going to have their own party at the underground because, everyone is all at at some other Halloween party. I don't remember whose Halloween party they were all at, but Noah lets Reed borrow the keys because he has to go get his guitar. He left it behind at the underground, so he comes back. And while they're in the office, that's when the whole drama, Mishigas with Dina Mergeron happens, which is, the whole thing is just kind of still has me scratching my head. What was she doing at the underground at night? And why did she walk in and the lights were off and no one was in and she just thought that was normal? I mean, what is going on, right? I don't understand. So they're all there, and then all of a sudden the place is on fire. And Maddie immediately calls for help. I mean, I gotta give Maddie credit because I would like her with me if I'm ever in a disaster. Because that bitch stayed calm, and she took care of business, and she got help, and she was fucking great. I did like that. That was pretty impressive. The firefighters come in, but they're concerned about getting the kids out. So Billy rushes in and he saves the 3 kids, but he ends up getting pinned by falling debris. Now, let's pause. This might sound a little bit familiar to you because the exact same fucking thing happened, at Newman Tower somewhere, and this is when Kelly Stitch's sister, Kelly Andrews, had sex with Jack, right? So this has happened before, and not that long ago. So it's a little bit of lazy storytelling, in my opinion, because this has just happened, right? Well, Nick, it hasn't happened long enough for Nick, thank goodness, because Nick is like, yeah, I know exactly who did this. He, even though it was actually Dina and it wasn't Victor, he's convinced that Victor's the one who set fire to the underground. Well, Nick is not an idiot. I'm sure he had insurance. I would hope that he would have insurance. Now, they make a whole plot point about how he didn't have insurance. I'm going to be like, really, bitch? He's a fucking Newman. He knows, you know. I mean, he always had money, so, okay, I need to not get worked up about stuff that hasn't even happened yet, but I'm just like, it's like when you drive the car to the edge of the cliff, you see the end of the cliff, right? So I would be freaking out and pissed off, but other people would be like, you don't need to freak out until you actually go over the cliff. So anyways, I need to not freak out about stuff like that because it's working my nerves. Anyways, alright, so a little other bit of kind of weirdness was the whole thing with Scott. So Scott's out of jail, and he started the week off, and he's like, he knew right away that Zach was the one who, Zach's the mastermind behind the sex ring. I must have missed that episode too. Maybe I missed a whole day where they explained a whole bunch of shit because I was like, what the, how, okay. But, in terms of the overall arc of the storyline, that's one of those revelations that, okay, well, if that happened off camera, that's fine. Because honestly, anyone with half a brain would know that Zach is in charge of the sex ring. Except Abby, who does not have half a brain. And Abby is the reason why he's not saying anything. He's like, he's in love with Abby, and we need to make sure we've got an ironclad case against him before we mention these allegations. So, despite the kind of weirdness about him knowing all of a sudden, and Paul doesn't, which, okay, let's pause this. Paul is the chief of police. How does Paul not know this shit? I mean, anyone doing their due diligence, the first thing I would have done would have been I would have downloaded the dating app. What is it called? whatever dating app that knew me, that Abby is bankrolling and that he's working on, or I would have downloaded that, and then I would have seen, oh, that's Natalia. Oh, those are some other girls. Like, and then what I would have done is I would have downloaded the app. I would have saw Natalia as one of the people on the site, and then I would have scrolled through the girls on the site, and I would have compared them to my database of people that I have arrested, because there were 2 hookers that were just arrested recently for prostitution that were released to Leon. So, I mean, that whole thing is like, is Genoa City like, because you know how in Port Charles for General Hospital, we joke that, the Port Charles PD is just so wonderful because they have not solved a single fucking case ever, right? And that's not just since Jordan's been in charge. That's been like pretty much since I started watching the show in 1978. Genoa City is the same way, except with the Keystone Cops. I mean, anyways. Thank you so much for logging on today, everyone. I do appreciate it. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Angel Benton. Shout out to all my friends that have logged in that I met today at Day of Days. Shout out to all of you. You can hashtag YR to Talk Young and the Restless, or you can also hashtag GH Talk General Hospital. And you can also hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel to get my YouTube videos sent to your email inbox every single day. Thank you so much for logging on today. Have a wonderful night. Peace out. Wubba, wubba, wubba.